G'day everyone. Proud to say Barkarati is brought to you by Radix Nutrition, makers of the most technically comprehensive nutrition products that have ever existed. Unlock your potential with Radix. G'day listeners, welcome to Barkarati, the Sailing Podcast. My name's Jordan Spence and it's that time of the week where we get to hang out with some really cool sailors, but of course I have to share the mic with my two idiot mates. So first off, let's welcome Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, Exalted One.
BP, how are you, bro?
I'm good, but you know, we always say we should record the banter off air, pre and post show. It's going to come up.
No.
Your hair, we love it. We absolutely love it.
No.
For the podcasters out there, we know it's not visual, but we're going to give you running commentary during the show of how this fluffs up.
Well, we've got good news because
he had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
we finally found Mr. Nick Bice.
Yes, I've come out from under a rock in the Caribbean.
Yep.
And I must admit, I'm in a very top secret location, which I can't give you the details of. But it's good to get back to a little bit of civilization. But it was time to go. I'd hate to, I shudder to think how some of these crews live in the Caribbean for months and months on end. Beautiful place, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Awesome place. And I'll talk about the Caribbean 600 and the Nelson's Cup and all those sorts of things in a bit during a bit of hot time. And there might be a few stories. You never know.
Yep.
And maybe I'll just give a bit of a teaser for the listeners. You know, there's a common term that often comes out of my mouth when something's pretty good.
Yep. Yep.
Bit of a ball tightener, right?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, this is the complete opposite of that.
Yeah, you've loosened them right back off.
Literally someone's got torn in half. But we'll talk about that later.
Okay. Oh, I didn't expect that.
All right. Bit of gore on Barkarati.
Well, it sounds like we got plenty on offer today, so I'm looking forward to this. I suspect, you know, we're in the adventurer phase of our sailing discussions at the moment. We've had a few really good, interesting ones, and our guest today is somebody that's throwing it all on the line, and we love that. And so we're here to support that behaviour and try and help where we can, and actually find out more about the psyche behind someone that's doing what our guest is doing today. So our guest, started sailing about 4 years ago, I think, and has decided. Let's not make it sound whimsical. It's a thoroughly thought out program to do the Global Solo Challenge in 2027. She's bought the Morning Light off Cole Bauers, who's a very successful social media campaign and successful sailor, did a great job in that event itself. And is an Australian lass, Elizabeth Tucker, or Zaza, as she likes to be referred to. And we welcome her to Barkarati. So how are you? Great to have you on the show.
Thank you. I am fantastic. Thank you. I also should fully disclose, especially as I'm wearing an Ineos top, that I'm also British. So I'm a bit of a hybrid.
All right. Program interview is over. We don't talk to the
done. We are done.
So my accent, which actually caused a few comments while I was sailing back on social media, it swings between the two.
Yeah.
Depending on who I'm talking to. But,
I have a common term for that. It's accent chameleon.
Oh.
Yes.
I have another friend, a mutual friend of ours, Franco Leary, who's the most Irish person you could ever imagine with the most Australian accent. And we call it the accent chameleon.
Yep. Very cool.
Yeah.
So I want to see a bit of a swing between True Blue Aussie when we're absolutely taking the piss of maximum banter, and then you could just maybe posh it up a little to give our podcast a bit more class.
Bit of juice. Yeah.
I'll see what I can do. I'll try and be as ochre Australian as I can.
There you go.
Yes, with a touch of class.
Touch of class. Wow.
Now, Elizabeth, before we start, there is an apology I must make.
Yes.
to both you and Cole.
Yes.
And I think, well, for those that would have listened, I believe the term was, I think, what yourself and Cole was doing was the biggest conspiracy since man walked on the moon, based on sailing your vessel through the Southern Ocean, watching movies completely dry. And I believe it was something being filmed in the middle of California somewhere, is what I said. And that was all good fun and good banter. And then I get a message from Elizabeth Tucker. Here we go. She's about to tear us a new one. But no, all taken in good fun. And that was the intention.
I thought it was absolutely hilarious. We actually did, we filmed Cole listening to it. So I had listened to it first. I had Adam mate message me and say, you got to listen to this. And we actually filmed the reactions. I have to share that with you guys, but it is hilarious. So this boat is the driest boat I've ever been on, cruiser or otherwise. Wow. And it is so dry, so watertight that actually if you run the engine and you just even have the companionway hatch, even just closed, not locked, it sucks all the air out through the tiny, tiny little holes that they have for the water ballast. And you basically suffocate yourself, which we almost did 3 times. So
that's how you slept so well.
Yeah, exactly. It's perfect.
A bit of carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yeah. So we literally had to kick the companionway door open several times. Wow. Unfortunately, we didn't catch any of that on camera. And I'm not sure I would have been too proud to show that. It's a little bit embarrassing that we sailing through the Southern Ocean, all completely fine for sailing and just suffocate ourselves. But yeah, very watertight boat.
Wow. So. Excellent. Well, and you are, and for the listener, you are coming to us live right now on your boat.
Yes, I'm on the boat mainly because I'm homeless and jobless as a result of this endeavour and trying to get the program up and running. But I've got to clean out the boat still. We took so much stuff because the more I brought on the boat back from Spain, the less I had to ship. So still in the process of tidying it up and getting it clean because, as you can imagine, 74 days at sea. Not particularly the cleanest of vessels.
Wow.
Been there, done that. But you got the hatch open, right? You got the hatch open?
Yeah, it's open. All the hatches are open, so I can breathe.
So you're not going to fall asleep on us during the show, that's all.
No.
Well, you never know.
Don't worry.
A bit boring.
Liz. Jeez.
Hey, can't say that.
I'm not going to answer to that one.
Zara. I was just making sure, like your mum just joined in. So with... how did you get into sailing? Like, what was the thing that brought you into sailing?
I was going to go down that path. It's just like,
So I'd say it's in my blood. In that when I was a tiny kid, I used to play on a boat in my grandpa's backyard that hadn't even gone in the water, and I was obsessed with playing on this thing. There's a boat and a caravan, and I was always climbing on the boat. Anyway, boat got in the water, and I was always on that. I was probably about 6 years old. And couldn't spend more time on the boat. Would love to stay on it if we were on the marina, go sailing, whatever. But unfortunately my family moved away from the coast. So I then didn't do any sailing. And when I moved to Sydney, I was then always on the water boat, on motorboats or kayaks or something else. And finally, during COVID, I was like, I'm going to learn to sail. I'll put the time in. Because I always felt like I needed a lot of time to dedicate to sailing. And I think any sailor who's really into it knows it takes over your life. But I didn't know that actually I could learn quite casually and sort of each weekend or every other weekend. Anyway, COVID allowed me to learn, and I basically have tried to be on a boat almost every single day since.
It's interesting. Like when you had this desire, but then did the reality even come or meet the expectations or exceed? Like when you first went out on a boat, was it like, wow, this is it, or it was preordained?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, just in the blood. Like I knew I loved sailing. I'd always loved sailing boats. I didn't enjoy racing. The first time I raced, I was probably pretty intimidated and just found it a bit chaotic. As it is. And I didn't think I'd like it. I thought I'd just like cruising, but as sort of time went on, it became apparent I like the in-between, which is the solo sailing. I don't deal with the chaos of a crew. But there's still, if you're racing shorthanded, you still got the intensity and the fun of the race, but without so much chaos.
Did you have a social group that sucked you in, or did you drive this all yourself? Like, did you how did you end up doing it? Do you have friends that are mad into sailing before you started sailing, or?
No, not in Sydney. So one of the things that I think is so amazing about sailing and sort of encouraging anybody who wants to get into it is the community, and the amount of friends that I now have that are sailors is totally swamped. My other very good friends, still very good friends, but I mean, they get pretty bored with my sailing chat. It's become my whole life.
Tack job.
Yeah. What
are we doing tonight, guys? Oh, we're going out with Elizabeth again. Oh,
yeah.
God, here we go.
Yeah, they just eased me out of their lives, really. So that's fine. That's fine.
Here comes Elizabeth again with a bottle of rum.
My bottle of rum, like this one. It's never far. Always got this one handy.
I love it.
Did you put some in your coffee? Did you put some in your coffee?
Well, you know what? I can't even find my coffee pot. I was too busy trying to set up the camera, but I have a piccolo, so it would be the rum to coffee ratio would have been pretty strong on the rum then.
Intense.
Yeah.
So I might need it after this podcast, though.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, well, so you had the idea to go sailing. When did the idea to do the Global Solo Challenge come to you?
So I'd wanted to do a solo circumnavigation for quite a while. I always wanted to do an adventure. And when I say always, I mean since I was really small, I wanted to swim the channel. And I was actually trying to train to that in Sydney for a while, but soon realised that definitely wasn't for me. I'm a terrible swimmer. I basically go around in circles. So don't think swimming across the channel was a good idea.
A circumnavigation makes more sense, especially going in circles.
Exactly. So it's really good if you're just sort of, that's why I think maybe I should try and swim around Australia or something. But anyway, so that wasn't for me. And then there might be a few too many sharks. I saw one actually in the harbour on the weekend.
Yep.
Swimming around, which is pretty cool. So I wanted to do just potter around, but non-stop, but something smaller, more like Jessica Watson style SNS 34 or something like that. And I was working towards that, but very slowly, just trying to get more sailing experience. And then I actually saw Cole and Cole Bauers' social media, and her absolutely killing it with the first GSC. And it was the first time that I was like, I don't think I could do this. She just made it look so easy. And I know it's not easy. And then so I was sort of like, oh, okay, I'm being a bit silly. This is way too beyond me. And then somehow now I'm sat here sitting on the boat that she did it on and having just sailed halfway around the world with her. And the in-between is a bit hazy. But yeah.
It's almost like for us listening, it sounds like you're just head down, butt up, just going, and you're not really thinking about the consequences. It just seems to be all happening and unfolding in front of you.
Possibly. I think if I thought about the consequences, maybe I wouldn't do it. But for me, it's felt like I've had this goal and this passion for it. And one thing that I've really learned is if you focus enough with those two in mind, and doors just open along the way, and you just decide if that's a good move or a bad move. And so far, each step I've taken has led me a lot further in the goal. And that's mainly because of the people around me who've really, really helped and really pushed the program. So just having fantastic support who all really are passionate about it and have done an insanely good job. I mean, I know you guys commented on it, but the media frenzy when we arrived was amazing. I mean, Cole has 500,000 followers on Instagram, so we knew there would be a fair amount of interest. But yeah, that was really my team working really hard to make sure that the program gets off to the best start, and that we get the social media which will drive sponsors. So.
It's interesting, the world of sailing. Like there's so much to learn, and you need a lifetime to become master of the sport. In 4 years of sailing, you've decided to do this round the world race, which for some would be you've got no chance, you don't know what you're in for, sort of thing. But when I do want to highlight for the listeners, there's a whole program that you've put together about things that you want to develop, and I can go through the list. There's a whole program on boat maintenance and repairs, solo sailing skills and mental toughness, sail handling and rigging, offshore navigation, weather routing and meteorology, communication technology, safety and emergency procedures, food and water management, and planning for the unexpected. So that it's not a whimsical approach. I guess I'm trying to say, like you've thought about it, you've got your team together. So I just wanted to highlight that you've had a senior level job, you're quite growing up in your approach. So I just wanted to highlight that, and to maybe even address that, what your thoughts are, if you are, that. Yeah,
thank you. So a lot of that, I think, I had a good starting point in that from my corporate career, of how to get a project off the ground and effectively start a business, which is kind of what this program is. So that's how I've approached it, being around the best people possible to teach me those things. So it's pretty demoralizing a lot of the time, because I'm always the person who knows the least. But then I know I'll come out of it being somebody who actually stands a chance and has the knowledge if I learn from the best. But also that whole program with all those things that I need to learn is actually more than just me learning them. So the program for 2025 and hopefully 26 is an all-female Hobart campaign with the boat, and bringing on 4 other women who also want to learn all of these things. And that will be an open application thing, which I'm going to, if I get all my admin done properly, release on International Women's Day on the 8th of March. So very soon, 5 days. Yeah, I really don't have long to pull everything together. But the idea is to bring all of those women along and give them a chance to learn all of these things, learn about the mechanics of the boat, both in terms of like rigging mechanics and the actual engine mechanics and everything else that you need to learn. Leave the boat rigged as a solo boat, and then have a crew member on deck to do everything. So they learn what happens if you mess up something at the back, how it affects the bow. And that's sort of the plan. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's full immersion, isn't it?
Yeah.
What happens? What happens in that situation? So you're going to go to Hobart. If, say, Stacey Jackson says, "Oh, you know what? I'll come." Do you put someone like her on the boat, or do you want people that are sort of developmental?
So the idea is to have the people with the capacity to learn and the drive to learn. Mm-hmm. And what I need to balance, and this is what I've got to work out in the next 5 days, is how to put that crew together in the best way. That means that we can get to Hobart safely and competitively, but also give the most opportunity for learning. So Stacey Jackson, obviously absolutely amazing. At this point, I would probably say as somebody who I'd love to help train and not be on the boat. But if I look at the applications and I go through it and I'm like, no, we need this skill, we absolutely have to have this skill, then I'll be begging somebody to come along. Yeah, gotcha. I've got to work out that. And like I said, it might seem all well put together, but there's a lot of, I'm like a duck under the water. I'm really sort of trying to pull everything together as quickly as possible.
The wheels are spinning.
That's the Aussie, like all the Aussies in the pro scene, they always look like they're mucking around and lazy, but they do all the work when people aren't watching, It's a very Aussie trend that you've picked up. I'm not going to blame it on your British heritage, it's the Aussies that do the hard work.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
There we go, well played.
Can we talk about the sailing for a bit? The sailing itself. So 4 years, you've come a long way. You get on the boat with Cole in Spain. Let's talk about that bit, because how much sort of solo sailing had you done? You know, like on especially on a bigger boat in that time, in that 4 years.
Literally none. The only on a little laser have I been by myself. Right. I've done obviously.
This is a huge conversation, because I don't know if you know, my passion is solo or short-handed sailing, into the fact that I've immersed myself into that part of the sector. So you've rocked up in Spain. What were you expecting?
How do I answer the best? The best way to answer is everything that it was is what I expected. So I expected it to be, from my perspective, easier than crewing, because the thing I find hard about crewing is the noise, the lack of confidence I get when somebody else is there to tell me to do something differently. I want to learn from them, and that's great, but sometimes it's confusing and it just knocks my confidence, and then I'm absolutely rubbish and everything is just awful. So me having the space and time to do something, make mistakes, learn, and go, oh, that was a bit stupid, and just say it to myself, is what, for me, the short-handed stuff is about. And also it's about like conserving your energy for something that might happen, and then you go up and you deal with that when it happens, but the rest of the time you're not sat on the rail. And I think a lot of people who think of solo sailing, they imagine you're at the helm all the time, or constantly trimming, or on the rail, just like you are doing a Hobart crewing. And it's like, no, it's a lot easier than that most of the time, and then it's full on when it's full on.
Good way of putting it. Yeah.
And
okay,
to actually understand that, when you turned up in Spain, were you straight out on the water pretty much, or how many days on the water did you spend before actually making the journey? Making the decision or the journey? So before the decision, no, not at all. The boat was in the yard, and I'd been on the boat, but no, inside the shed, so no rig. Days sailing, we went out twice.
Okay, let's look at this from Cole's point of view, Cole's perspective. She's put her life and soul into this boat. You rock up. Yeah. What did she think? This girl's a nutter. She's just like me. She's just like me. Perfect.
Oh no. This was Cole's idea. So I was inside in it. I was at the Swan Cup, and she FaceTimed me and said, "Hey, like, I know you're interested in the boat. I'd put an offer in June, like a few months before, and then I ended up looking at a boat here instead, because it would be much cheaper. And part of the being cheaper wasn't just the boat, but also the getting it to Australia. So she said, well, why don't we just sell it together?" And I mean, I was never going to say no to that. Like, I get somebody who has just absolutely killed it in the race that I want to do, and she's going, I'll train you. Let's bring the boat back with you. Let's go. And from Cole's perspective, she said, well, if she says no, then I know she's not serious.
Oh, it's just such a story. I love it.
Yeah, and this is what I mean by doors opening. I like, it's ridiculous, right? It's like this door just opened, and just led me forward towards this goal. And could I really ask for more of a better way to start? I came up with the idea of buying a boat in Europe and saying, "Oh, I'd love to sail it back nonstop," and then somehow it actually happened. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
It sounds like a fairy tale.
I think it kind of is.
It is a bit of a fairy tale.
Was it a fairy tale?
Yeah, let's get to that point. It's a long sail.
Yeah, it's long. You know what? I loved every single day of sailing, no matter how rough it was outside. In fact, actually, the hardest days were when it was calm. The most painful and unpleasant sea state was 0.4 meters with a 2-second period. And it was unbearable 7 meters, beautiful, so nice. Yeah, 0.4, not nice, not nice at all.
I agree.
And yeah, so a lot of spamming, and that felt like, because we were sleeping with the bilges on beanbags, it felt like you were being kicked in the ribs every time a wave hit the side, which was quite unpleasant. But it was still a really good experience and good fun. So love that. That's a fairy tale. And in terms of spending 74 days in a very, very confined space with one other person, I honestly can say I don't think there's a single person that I could have done it better with than Cole. I think we did really well. We did have an argument over a fork. Was
it a good argument though? Was it a really big screaming argument, or what was it? Or was it just I'm just not talking to you for 2 days?
So I learned something about myself. I always thought I was not conflict avoidant, but I just put my headphones on and pulled my sleeping bag over my head and turned around and just waited until Cole was less unhappy about not being able to find a fork. But yeah, so that was a very.
That's the worst of it. It sounds like you've had a great trip, and Cole no doubt has passed on a bunch of knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. Just so much that I learned from doing the trip. It's only really sinking in now. There's still so much to learn on the boat. That's obviously really technical, and with 4 years of experience sailing, it's, as we all know, it is a language as well as like a physical activity and mechanical and everything else. So there's a lot of things to still learn on the boat, but the experience of sailing halfway around the racetrack is something that I think I probably took the most from learning just what it's like to be through those oceans and how to navigate them and navigate through the systems.
I think something super noticeable from my side is you had a lot of fun. And it's good to see. Obviously, we follow Cole when she sailed around the world, but then to see the continuation of all the social media and what your input into the social media as well, it just looks so you're having the time of your life.
Absolutely. The Southern Ocean was a bit more challenging because we were literally just basically stuck in bed. But we tried where we could. Through the first half through the Atlantic, we had such good fun. And it was really fun making the reels. I'm actually terrified of social media. I didn't really use it at all personally before I started this, but I knew I had to for sponsors. I knew if I wanted to do this goal and to get more women, particularly women, into sailing, anybody more into sailing, because it's done so much for me. And I think it just has so much to offer people. But in particular, more women into sailing, I knew I needed to have media that appeals to people who aren't in sailing. And apparently bouncing around on the deck in a kangaroo suit is quite effective for that.
So it is.
Well, it's very timely, what with the ray gun. I mean, she's just a weapon and we love her.
Yeah, she just, again, a door opened, right? She set it up for me. And just there we go.
And
yes,
it was one less thing to ship back from Spain.
I was just going to say,
you never know. You never know when you're going to need a kangaroo suit.
And you know what? There is actually, I'm just looking behind me because earlier, I know the kangaroo suit came off, but there's a tail. Oh, yeah, it's just up there. The kangaroo tail, it attaches and it's still on the boat. So I might just leave that. I might just leave little things on here as part of the trip.
You know, they make wallets out of a certain part of kangaroos as well.
I was going to buy Cole that as a present to say, here you go. But I think being American, I don't know that she would have got the humor that much. So I decided.
I got to say, hey guys, I was lucky enough to get an invite and go down and see the girls in and get on board with the official media. I don't know how that works, but anyway, I managed to get there.
Yeah, where did you blag your way into that?
I have no idea. I just woke up one day and I was driving to Middle Harbour going, what's going on? Anyway, no, we've got to thank a few people for that. But ended up on the boat right next to the bridge in the harbour, Sydney Opera House. And Elizabeth had all her people around her. The smile on her face was huge, but I managed to speak to Cole, and it was quite a nice moment because she had never been into Sydney Harbour. Elizabeth was bouncing around, obviously like a kangaroo up the front, having a ball.
Well,
a
she
few
had all
photo
that
moments
practice.
with Cole.
So,
Yeah, but ended up down the back with Cole having a chat to her about it, and she was, that she was super happy but a little bit emotional. But the vibe in general was really cool, and that, like you said, you had fun, but it was definitely visible. When I caught up with you, so yeah, pretty cool.
It was a really strange moment from Hobart. We came into Hobart to customs, and that was a really nice private. We've come home. Like we still we've got footage from it, and it was just beautiful. And that was probably more emotional moment coming and making it back to Australia. But then the last 4 days up were probably quite tough. Like if you think of like the emotional side of the sailing, it wasn't as hard as I expected to sail through the Southern Ocean emotionally. It was definitely tough at times, but the last 4 days, having the mixed emotion of my excitement and Cole saying goodbye to the boat, I think that was probably the hardest for us. And Cole was great of giving me my moment to celebrate having got the boat back and the excitement, and I sort of tried to give her the space to say goodbye to the boat and everything. But that was probably pretty tough having those two different sort of feelings.
So, Cole, if you're listening now, we are hoping to do part 2 of this interview next week with you. So just stand by. No, but it was noticeable that she was super happy, but it was what do you say, sort of a change of chapter, or like what's next for me type of thing. And she'll be right. She'll be fine.
She really was. I think she was part of her being keen to do the trip. She wanted to make sure the boat went to a new story itself, and this one just makes sense. It's the fairy tale, as you said, but also to give herself the time to sort of reflect and think about what to do and where to go. And she came back to an absolute media frenzy, and just her whole life completely changed. So being at sea gave her that opportunity to just think for herself and work.
Get a breather.
Yeah. So hopefully she had to rush back for her dad's birthday, but I think it was, that sets her up to go forward and with all the exciting things and options that she's got.
Yeah, well, Boris, guest number 1 on Barkarati, Boris Herman. Mile 50, mate. Signed her up, I think. So
it has to come up, doesn't it, Bicey?
well, 50, they are the second best
every day
dinghy class in the world. But
oh dear.
So, how since the arrival, how busy have you been? Been pulled in all sorts of directions, or you've managed to get a bit of downtime?
I've had a bit of sailing. I've had 5 days of sailing on 5 days of racing on other boats, which has been great. And other than that, tried to get a little bit of time away just to work out what this program will look like. I think I haven't really had too much of downtime, and I've only got 5 days to pull everything together. So it's a bit of all go from this side. But I'm really excited about it. So that's great. But at some point, I think I want a holiday.
And do you think
from my unemployment?
Yeah,
what you have just completed, as far as the next steps and financing the next steps, it just makes it a bit more real for sponsors and partners to come in now and see actually what can be delivered and what direction you want to take in the delivery. Like you're saying, like the social media to get more women involved. Is that the key selling point that
exactly
some of the sponsors?
Yeah, so the interest really has been very much, I think people most interested or resonate with having had a corporate career and then following some kind of dream and passion and just throwing everything on the line. I really put everything I have into this and getting the boat. And now it's crucial for me to be able to get those sponsors to be able to take this forward. So yeah, doing all the media and doing as much as I can for the exposure does show them what I sort of partnering with me, how that can be for their brand. So that's a really good starting point. But yeah, there's a lot of work to be done to just make sure And to do the Global Solo Challenge, I'm focusing on 2025 and getting that up and running and getting the women's program sorted. But yeah, there's the longer term that to get the boat back to Europe is, expensive.
As you've said quite a lot, that doors open. I think you're right. You're doing it the right way. Get 2025 happening, and the rest will happen. I did notice that you had some signage on your mainsail, Dalbora Marinas.
Yeah.
A bit of a plug for them, obviously. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, so that's absolutely amazing. So also another plug. So Mitch White is my project manager for One Stop Marine and has done an insane amount of work to get the program up and running while I've just been lying down watching Netflix, sailing on boat. And
making reels.
Yeah, and one of those things was the link up with Dalbora. So Dalbora has been fantastic. They're really excited. They came out, they were on the water with a very, very nice looking boat, I have to say, to welcome us. And I'm moving the boat around there. So it'll be based at the Spit Marina. So just be on the bridge. Moving her around there today. But they're great. They've got the boatyard there and, fantastic. Really excited to have them as a first big sponsor, which means I can actually go ahead with the campaign. So fantastic. And yeah, thank you to them.
Well, yep, great news. Well done.
Yeah.
And who else have we got? I'm just having a look at on your webpage now. Mustang Survival. So the wet weather gear and
yeah, I'm trying to, as hard as I can, to bring Mustang to Australia because it is amazing. It's fantastic. And particularly for women, best gear. Like Cole is a massive fan. I'm a massive fan. And I've got it all around me still and it's awesome. So watch this space, but I'm hoping to actually have that available at the moment.
Do they have gear to allow for kangaroo tails?
Well, they've got a dry suit, which I reckon you could really easily put a tail on. It also has a zip right across the back, so you could probably tuck the tail in or have it out if you wanted to. So I think that's definitely an option.
Yeah, I'm seeing a hood. I'm seeing a hood as well with ears. I think that's the way forward.
A pouch. I think a pouch is the most important thing.
Well, yeah, you got to keep your safety gear somewhere.
That's right.
Or your beers.
Basically, a kangaroo is the perfect offshore muscle.
Offshore sailing suit.
I see where you're going here.
Let's just do a whole offshore kangaroo suit.
They can just curl the tail up somewhere to sit. Nice and
put your hands. You can put your hands in the pouch there. Keep warm.
Instead of a harness, you could just kind of tie the tail on and be hoisted up the mast, like face down by the tail. I reckon that could work quite well. I'll try and put it to Mustang, see what they can do.
Well, I'm seeing a whole line here, though. You've heard of drop bears, right?
Yeah. Well, I tried to convince Cole on drop bears. I think she
do a whole range.
Actually question it.
Yeah.
Luckily, you didn't sail under any of those trees where drop bears jump out, though. You've got Cole a beauty.
I tell you what, if you get her on next week, you've got to ask her about the drop bears. See if that one actually managed to stick.
I'm just seeing Mustang ears prick up here because we're seeing a whole range of Australian native wet weather gear.
Well, they're going to soon move away from the seahorse logo. It's going to be a kangaroo.
You guys
I think this is really good brand development. I really like it.
Shit, we've just done this in 3 minutes. Imagine in the boardroom.
Well, I tell you what.
We are awesome brainstormers, Elizabeth.
I can see this. I actually think I need to, set up another call where we can just go through this. Maybe part of my program. Who knows what it's gonna end up being? And just think what you could have done for my reels and all the creativity that I could have had.
Oh yeah.
One thing we didn't tell you though, we're good on the brainstorming. Pretty shit house on the delivery though.
We are absolutely. In fact, the way we are managing it going forward, and I haven't told you guys this, is we're going to set up Bar Karate Consultancy. Then we just come up with the ideas and let other people proceed. Because we do have plenty of ideas.
Anyway.
I got to tell you,
we've been doing for 5 years.
But with the funniest thing is with when Bicey and I are on the Volvo together and we're doing the development for the new yacht, I can't tell you how many ideas between Coxie, me, and Bicey came up. I was just sitting down having a few beers together, and just that whole process. It was very successful in developing some go fast ideas for boats. Is all I'll say.
Yeah, make some brainstorming, good brainstorming environment.
And it does.
Let's say, yeah.
Imagine, I can see it. I can see the quality coming out here.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
For those who don't know, Global Solo Challenge, I think it starts 28 August 2027, Vigo in Spain. So start and finish in Vigo in Spain is my understanding of it. Lots of different sizes, and so you'll be racing in the 40-foot size boat because that's what you got. It's going to be the second running. Is it so for it?
One. At the moment there'd be every 3 years, but it's only the second, so I don't know if that would change. But yeah, the last one started in A Coruña. This one will be Vigo, which will be much nicer because much easier getting in and out of Vigo. Without having to go around Finisterre. So I think that was a bit challenging for the contestants last year. So yeah.
Have you? What's the current start list look like for the next edition? Is it building?
So there's a lot of people very interested. I think there's 15 people who've entered at the moment.
Oh, wow.
Already. I wouldn't look to put my entry in until very much the last minute because there's a lot to do and I'm on the other side of the world at the moment with the boat. So you won't see my name come up as an official entrant yet. But on the list, there's probably about 100 people interested, and most of them are looking at the Class 40 because these older Class 40s with the pointy end are very good solo circumnavigator boats. So it's great. The organizer of that event wanted to create something that was a solo circumnavigation that's not the Vendée, but also something for these older Class 40s that are no longer competitive in Europe to do something with them.
I do love your
Jordan
description.
Spencer, do talk, Jordan Spencer.
I do love the description, the older Class 40s, the ones with the pointy end. Instead of saying non-scow boats, I just love the description. It's such a beautiful way of saying it, And BP would have just fired up with that because he hates a scow bow. He's massive for the pointy end, so he's a big fan straight away. I can see it. But yeah. The bow. I'm never going to call it a bow anymore. It's just the pointy end. I think that
pointy end.
Pointy end. It's got a pointy bow or a round bow.
A czar bow. A czar bow. It's a czar bow.
I quite like that. The slamming in this thing, upwind, was awful, and I can't imagine doing that in a scow bow. I think I would have been driven insane. So it's scary enough thinking that something's going to break with this. Let alone the in the pointy one.
With the czar bow. I'm intrigued. One of the things that we talk about, we have fairly good relations with the Sunfish Union. We've been working with them a lot. Now we're into the Orca Union, and Flying Fish Union is another one that we're starting to negotiate with to try and make things safer for all sailors globally. That's something Barcarati does for free. I'm just intrigued.
That's complimentary, by the way.
Just part of the service. Any run-ins? Did the union sort of step across the line at all? Any?
So yeah, we had plenty of flying fish invade us.
They are difficult to control.
Might have been before our latest industrial relations discussion.
Yeah, they were very sacrificial. They were
That's
their
mentality.
They sort of came up and most of them did not make it back off the deck.
We found they've always had a kamikaze attitude.
Some of them, when they come up, like those bigger ones, they really make quite a lot of noise. So we had plenty of those. We had a few flying squid land on the boat.
What?
just little ones. They just you wake up in the morning and you're like, okay, hello, okay, you died, and it's
right. Well, I got to admit, I have had a couple of little squid land on my boat, but I wouldn't have thought they were flying. But I'm gonna have a chat to them. I think
they're the helicopter squid.
Well, it's a dry boat, right? So there's no way the water could have brought them up. No, so there was so in the sort of coming into the Southern Ocean, I think we had those. There was a fair few dunked on the deck. But then in terms of no whales, no orcas, they all stayed away. Clearly don't like the pointy, the zarbel. They weren't interested in that, which was nice. But then in terms of wildlife, I mean, I was really disappointed. We're just spoiled in Australia. We had but they did come out for the fairy tale moment. So when we left Spain 3 days before just to go offshore to do the transfer of the boat, and as we came back in, we had dolphins on the bow around us. That was lovely.
Postcard moment.
Yeah, postcard moment. When we came into Hobart, they came out and they were around the bow, and that was like, I mean, that gives me goosebumps now. That was just like really, really postcard. I mean, they were perfectly paged. So clearly you guys had something to do with that, with your dolphin association.
Well, hence why we don't promote the round bow, because the dolphins keep coming out and bumping their head. Don't know what's above.
Nothing worse than bumping the blowhole.
Especially on Mardi Gras weekend. Are you going to
edit that one out, or are you going to keep that in?
No, that stays. There's no way that's coming out.
Oh, brilliant. I love it. And we had to hang out off the heads in 25 to 30 knots. It wasn't particularly pleasant to get the timing right to come in through the heads at 10 o'clock.
That was because it took me a while to get a car park.
Yeah, I heard that somebody was holding up the delay. I didn't realize it was you. And we had dolphins come on the boat then too. So it was
there you go.
Yeah, so I don't know how much you paid them, but you did a good job. Thanks, guys.
Well,
the odd Tommy Ruff.
I've done a
odd mackerel. Gave him one.
Couple of mackerel, couple of flathead. I've done a long trip down into the Southern Ocean myself, and spent a lot of time with the albatross. Did you get any visuals of the albs? Because they're a stunning creature in flight.
Yeah, we had a lot of albatross, and also I didn't realize how many different varieties there are. How many
world's best kept secret.
Yeah. So I was just like, these big birds. Seen the albatross before going down to Hobart, but I was like, oh wow, actually, there's lots of different ones. So that was we had a lot of birds.
Molly, look, light mantled sooty albatross. There's a bunch of them.
I bet BP and Zar have never seen an albatross driving a little hole in Barina through a car park doing slides. You remember that, Bossy?
Oh yeah, yeah. Don't worry. So listen, we'll put something up in regards to this. But picture it in the middle of Lisbon, someone dressed up as Wisdom the albatross from the Volvo Ocean Race, doing burnouts in the car park. Lucky the kangaroo wasn't there. Could have been a dust up.
Would have been a full dust up.
Kangaroo would have got a wing to the scone.
Oh. Mate, those wings, they're a 3 meter wingspan that easily smack a kangaroo.
I was going to say, forget shark versus crocodile. I mean, kangaroo versus albatross
versus kangaroo.
What a marketing thing this is for Mustang. It's just huge.
I do wonder, we talked about the fork incident. I'm wondering how close to the fork incident going missing the food poisoning happened. Was there any correlation?
No, I actually think they were opposite ends of the trip. But I don't think, full disclosure, I don't think Cole and I helped ourselves with the food poisoning piece, because we got a load of we were sick before we left Cape Verde, and then we brought a load of fruit and veg that we bought from the side of the street, as they get. Flies everywhere. And I was like, we should probably wash this before we eat it. And of course we didn't. And then the next one, I was like, damn, we didn't do that. We should wash the next ones. We really should do that. We still didn't. And then, funnily enough, we were particularly sick. There is some footage of just how unwell we both were, which may or may come out in the future, but there was a line of what I'd put on social media, and it was drawn.
Well, I think you need to say no more.
I'll leave that one to the imagination.
What about Because you would have sailed over the equator for the first time on this trip too, wouldn't you?
Yes. Yeah, on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, right.
Morning.
So
Very special. Fairy tale moment again.
Did you meet Neptune?
Yes, so I still have, if I tie my hair up, I still have this little bit hanging down where I was made to cut my hair off.
women get away with it so easy.
Oh, it was great. Cole was so good for that. But also, yeah, just a little bit. Actually, she was like, you cut way off more than I expected. So I still have this dangly bit. But yeah, we were supposed to have the flying fish, but obviously they had heard that we were planning to gut them and use them for the
squid must have fled on.
So yeah. Somebody had a chat with them, and so they disappeared for that. But yes, we did have good fun with the crossing. Yeah, so it was pretty cool. I mean, I crossed the equator and went past 2 capes. To be
cool.
Fantastic.
So
Very cool.
pretty cool trip. Yeah.
So if people want to become involved in, you mentioned the Hobart program, you mentioned, obviously sponsorship. How do people find you, and what's the challenge called? What's your brand, and how do people find you?
So everything's under Zara Ocean Racing on Instagram. On Facebook, it's under Elizabeth Tucker. It was a technical issue. I told you, not good at social media, didn't do it before. But those are the 2 ways of finding me on social media. But for the actual program, I will be using MySail, which is the website, which is I kind of call it Tinder for boats, but basically the matching boat skippers with crew. I will be launching the program on there, so I'll be as a boat and then getting people to join through that as a primary source. And I will be announcing that on the social media through Instagram and Facebook next week. But I'm also down at Middle Harbour Yacht Club pretty much all the time. So I'd encourage anybody to get in touch. And I plan to work with Deb with MySail to set up something to help people get into sailing through that website and show them where to go and who to learn from, sort of sailing schools in their local area and stuff.
So ZA, Z-A, Ocean Racing.
Z-A, yes, Z-A. Yeah, for Elizabeth.
Yeah.
That's where that came from, yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Cool. All right. Well, I think we might let you go and get your boat around to Dalbora Marina. How's that for a nice little plug for you? What we'll do is we'll just stay in touch over the next couple of years, I think, and try and sort of help you succeed. If we can in any way.
Be fantastic. And the brainstorming sessions were, you guys clearly are perfectly well versed to whenever I need an idea.
Zara, I've got some Barcarati beer stickers here that we put on beer cans. I could come and just put a few of them around the boat if you want, and that could be a little bit of a.
Well, that could be
absolutely. And then I'll send you an invoice for the sponsorship. Go for it. Let's go.
No problem.
That could be where the round table takes place. It won't matter if it rains because we're on the world's driest boat. So.
World's driest boat.
Exactly.
And I did run into Roy Disney the other day, and he said, "Oh, I'm glad you approve of our setup in California for the girls."
Yeah, fantastic.
Very good. Well,
thank you so much, guys.
Super proud of you, and I'm wishing you all the best, and we're wishing you all the best as you take on this cool journey. And please send us the videos of Cole's reactions to the show, because I think that'll be quite timing to get that on as we release this episode today. So yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Zara. Thanks for joining.
Speak soon.
Ciao.
Well, it's all just passion at the moment, isn't it? It's full steam ahead. It's just an amazing story, and we bang on about pathways and opportunities and doors opening and things like that. Sometimes you just got to take the bull by the horns, or the kangaroo by the tail, as we say in bar karate, and just hop along and make it happen.
Oh, you've been practicing that, BP.
How good am I?
Far out.
No, actually, it's just 4 years of experience, at this level, No, to be honest, and on top of that, the short-handed side of things, which is, as we know, is where I live. To see it happening and unfold like this is huge. It's a great thing, and I love it.
Yeah, I really do hope that Zara succeeds. It's as you said at the start, the passion thing. She did also mention to say thanks to Alice Parker or Tananowski, ex-Tananowski, for the navigation and the routing through the trip. Amazing.
Who is another super talented female sailor. And yeah, the work she did for them was huge. She was there at the entrance, and it was a very, very big moment. Yeah,
absolutely. Obviously, from our sponsors' perspective, from Radix Nutrition, it's a perfect tie-in. Talking about the solo single-handed stuff sailing around the world. And clearly, the food poisoning didn't come from Radix, so that's something you don't have to worry about when you go, and you can throw down some of the amazing products that come from Radix. Go anywhere, go 2 meals, ready in minutes, bursting with flavour and perfectly balanced to refuel after a tough day in the mountains. No, in the mountains of the sea, in the gym, in the office, or in the middle of the ocean. It's just it's good. So if you go to Radix Nutrition, just jump onto their website and just type in the word, the discount code Bar Karate. You'll get a discount on us.
Please type in Bar Karate because it helps.
Yeah. I did type it in Japan. I jumped onto the Radix site in Japan, and I don't think that it's sold in Japan. So bad luck to all our Japanese listeners. Cool. All right. Moving on.
Yeah.
There's a theme this week, boys.
Yeah.
There was mistakes made last week. Definite mistakes made last week.
I knew.
I was going to blame it on my holiday, but I'm blaming it on John Spencer. Did you guys catch up with John Spencer?
John Spencer, as in your father?
No, my dad's Ian Spencer.
Sorry, Ian. Yeah.
Our friends at Sailing Illustrated, Tommy Boy over there, my photo went up this week. Me and Alistair Murray, the photo, and they started talking about bar karate and describing bar karate and the whole thing. And I got quite a few messages sent my way saying, "Who's John Spencer?" And it's they've put my name up as John Spencer. So
your alias.
Right. Yeah.
Is that
the American version? But appreciate the support that they did show us. And Alistair Murray sent that photo through. That was me and John Emmett and Lily. And Alistair, we were all in the airport lounge together after Sail GP in Sydney. And so, so there was mistakes made. And so I'm blaming all last week's mistakes on John Spencer is what I'm getting.
Well, that's fair enough. Yeah. We'll let Jordan take care of the cool stuff.
Yeah. All right. So, Icy, moving forward, we've got a perfect opportunity here. So we can run with this.
Oh, no. Yeah, I'm running with it too. Nathan Bice, everything that he did last week in Antigua, off the record.
Have you guys met Bert?
Bert Perry. Yeah, I have a few times actually. He's like a nocturnal owl. He comes out at 10
Welcome to Bar Karate, brought to you by Nathan, Bert and John.
All right. So let's for the emails this week. A lot of them addressed some mistakes, and we. Let's be honest. I'm very grateful. I, as I said, I did want to blame it on me being in Japan and on holidays, but no. It's first one was from my great mate Stringers, Ian Taylor from Ronston. Tisk. You didn't validate your information as to where the Marley Point yacht races sailed. It's in the Gibson Lakes, 3 to 4 hours east of Melbourne in Victoria. Nothing to do with the New South Wales lake system. I have no idea how I got that one wrong. The start is off Marley Point in Lake Wellington, and you sail west to east across the lake. Then you sail up the McLennan Strait, a little estuary linking to Lake Victoria. Depending on the size of your boat, you either stop at Paynesville or sail around Raymond Island and loop clockwise back around to Paynesville, all in the dark overnight. Sadly, the Lake Wellington Yacht Club was struggling a few years back due to limited membership, but it's taken over by the Gippsland Lakes Yacht Club. So this awesome event still lives on. It's lots of fun. I've sailed it a number of times now. I'm sure, 1, you could do it. 2, you could still find a ride for this year's race. And 3, your body would be fine. And lastly, afterwards, you go and say good day to AMAM, who spends most of his time living in Matung these days. So not far from the Marley Point yacht race finish at Painesville. Stringers, bloody appreciate that. And thanks for pointing out error number 1 of mine during the week, of John's during the week.
John's
error. Yep.
So very much.
I'm surprised. Bert didn't pick it up, mind you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You should have jumped straight onto that, Bert. I also did wish. I thought I was sort of.
Oh, this is a beauty. This is a beauty. What's going on there?
I thought it was Pat Langley's birthday last week, and just
Fuck, it all falls to bits, doesn't it?
Let's just wish everyone a happy birthday. I mean, come on.
Just a few months early there, J-Dog. John Dog, there you go, September 3rd, my birthday, but I appreciate the kind sentiments.
Thanks anyway. Thanks for the card.
Yeah. And then, which is, it was beautiful. And then one... Nick Crabtree. Have you guys ever heard of Mr. Nick Crabtree?
Yes. Yes.
Mud crab.
Some may know him as the mud crab.
Yeah.
The mud crab.
A full podcast on 18s and not one mention of the Kiwi teams who will give Harry a good run for his money. Well said. 100% correct. The Kiwis are awesome. You can quote me next podcast. Eli Lefting, second to Gray Morris in the IQ foil at Nats in New Zealand, 12-foot skiff intercoms winner and first try in 18s foot is now their New Zealand champion. Okay.
Yeah.
Plus,
Bravo. Sweet as.
because of course you've got Alex Callings with the Precious Honda Marine Crew, 3-time JJ winners. So Mud Crab just coming through and holding John Spencer to account.
Well, I got to say, I was actually lucky enough to be out on the ferry yesterday with one young David Snow watching the 18s. So the topic is still very much up there. It's all good.
That explains Joel Turner's message I got last night.
Another fuck up by John.
What did John say?
Joel, old Jolly boy.
Yeah,
Because he was sailing on.
Yeah.
Where was he sailing on? It's on Fisher Paykel, I think, something like that. Anyway, another mistake from John. You met my missus today on the ferry, and I'm going, what?
Oh, that's yeah.
So it was you, BP.
No. Yeah.
Oh, small world sailing, isn't it? Everyone knows everyone. So yeah,
No, that was
A bit too small sometimes.
yeah. It was BP. Okay, I'll send him that now. It was BP. I wrote back before saying, not me. It was BP. There we go. Set. Right.
I was there. I was on the ferry, and it was a great afternoon. So, and for all the listeners, including international listeners, if you ever get a chance and you're in Sydney, get on that ferry, get out there, whack a couple of bucks on a boat, and give it a go because it's great fun. Have a few beers, meet a lot of good people. Obviously, I was there with Richard Grimes and a bunch of other people. It was great fun.
Yeah,
Cool.
great work.
And that was our Jack Lloyd Listener of the Week discussion. Thanks to our friends at Waikobi. Remember.
And well done to
John Spencer for taking it out, causing as much traffic as possible.
John, can you win your own Waikobi jacket or?
Well, I tell you.
What size is John? What size is John?
I got some messages from our favourite Hobie Cat crew in the world, the world champion Hobie Cat 16 crewing of Camo and Suze. And Camo has just scored himself a UV top, one of the Barcarati UV tops, because they're in full, they've got the full outfit. They've got the hoodies, and now Camo's roaming around in the UV top, and Suze is jealous because she didn't get one at the same time, but I think it was Camo's.
Jesus, those guys might have more Waikobi shit than my mum does.
Well,
She's got every bit of paddling equipment you would ever imagine.
Yeah. Well, she's a champion, your mum. Very cool. All right. So it leads only to one thing.
It's hot time with Bice.
What? Good to have you back.
Jeez,
Hey?
I missed it, I tell you.
Oh,
Plenty of bar karate chat, by the way, in the Caribbean with various boats I sail on, and just go along with the normal theme. And for those that have been on, tell them that they're the second most listened to in bar karate history. Spent obviously a good time to probably our most listened to would be Sci-Fi, and all those guys on the mighty Galatea, and then topping it off on doing the Caribbean 600 last week on final, which tough race, gents. I've got to tell you, plenty of corners, plenty of wind, minimal sleep, maximum sail changes. Apart from that, and the worst one, and whether this was just the size of the boat that I was on, which is a 52-footer, ex-Warrior 1. You go around all the islands at night time. So the during the daylight hours, you're literally not going around any islands to take in the beauty of the Caribbean.
Yeah, right.
But I reckon they got to start the race at a different time.
Bloody cool race.
Yeah,
super
right.
cool.
I remember I was saying to Jack at one stage I don't know where we were in Japan. I said, "Oh, boss, you'll be just sailing around Guadeloupe right about now." So we were tracking you.
Yeah. Did you see us stop and go backwards for a while? And then go forwards again?
Negatory? Yeah. What happened?
Yeah. No, just in the wind shadows. Yeah. And they're not small islands, let me tell you.
No.
Very high. Very high. But before getting to the results of that, I mentioned something earlier in the show.
Yes.
About an absolute sack terror. The opposite of the ball tighter, an absolute sack terror. Poor Birdie, one of the goat crew off Galatea, he was just doing a maneuver, releasing the runner, I believe. And old Birdie almost lost little Birdie.
Oh,
little Birdie. No.
If it wasn't for something else getting in the way and going down the rope tube.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Gone.
No, all clear. Only took 12 stitches. They had to iron it. They had to iron it first, though.
Oh,
just a stopper.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we laughed, but I'm sure he wasn't.
Laugh, mate. I've never seen so many grown men dry reach in their whole life.
Wow.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, not much fun, but definitely the talk of the town. And it did not take long at all for that little.
Do you reckon?
Little bit to get out. Birdie, lucky you didn't lose little Birdie, but glad we're going to get you back soon, mate.
Do you reckon when Rick Disnick smashed into that pole vaulting horse fucking hard, that it was the same with the commentators trying not to laugh?
Well, I was actually down below at the time. And I've come up and I heard about it. I started laughing my head off because I thought, no, Birdie's fine. He's been sailing all day. No, he'd literally just done it.
No. Well,
anyway.
Speedy recovery to you, Birdie, and little Birdie.
And shout out to the final guys and girls. Awesome team, both on and off the water. Push the boat hard, push the social stuff hard. We had a bloody good time in Antigua. But
awesome.
I must admit it's good to be back in a little bit of civilization. Right. Caribbean 600, gents. Taken out by Choose.
Having a good year, aren't they?
Johnny Mordaunt and plenty of great guys on board. Yep. This is their second. They just won the Transatlantic, as you remember.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And they sailed a super clean race, followed by Ran and the 52 and Dagwet, the Carkeek 54. The Carkeek boats with the big slope still got, maybe not so pointy bow, BP.
No,
so kind of on the edge of the scow, but got the big chamfer on down the sheer. Beautiful. Dagwet being that green and black boat looks super cool. But line on is going to Lucky, another one.
She goes well, doesn't she?
In the cap. And I mean, the race for us was relentless, but this boat, like you're triple heading most of the time, right? If you're off the brace. And she would be a wet and relentless type race. But the good thing is it's quite warm. Yeah. But you can't afford to do anything not being fully covered up.
Yeah.
So good mates, Scotty Beavis and Nettie on the bow, of course. It's like they're going to war. But no, awesome. Bloody good caliber of boats here too, just quietly in that regard. When you look at the list,
it's definitely a major event now, isn't it? Like it's just become something really important.
The Nelson's Cup the week prior, you look at that people on the start line, super high caliber. Then you look at the 600. It's one of those to-do races.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no stuff around there.
Talk about to-do races, Bicey. I know you're doing Hot Time, but they really missed you over in Lincoln.
Oh, yeah.
I was with one young Lily Zhu the other day, and even she said she could feel it. There was signs in the street. Where are you, Bicey?
Well, fair enough too.
It was
bring Bicey back.
There was marching bands all out of time. It was just all wrong.
Yeah, just the mojo wasn't there. But yeah, I did miss the annual pilgrimage back with a bunch of mates. But they proceeded on without me, believe it or not. And it sounded as though it was a bloody good regatta.
My theory was that we did work out that it may actually lead to the cancellation of the event. We were
we were seriously concerned, weren't we?
Yeah.
I did sign some documentation the other night. I'm not entirely sure what that was about. It was a bit late in the evening.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt, but keep as you were.
Yeah.
As we were. So where did you get to last week? I'm guessing you might have given race results.
Oh, we talked about the Lincoln race. Now, obviously, race week is on. And then whilst that was on, we also mentioned that the Brisbane to Gladstone yacht race is starting April 18th, 2025, the guaranteed downwind flyer. And
guaranteed.
Yep. So
23% of the time.
2 years older. 2 years older than the Adelaide Lincoln race, so or 2 or 3 years older. So that we did mention that, and of course the great TV coverage that is provided, or the live stream that will be provided on that. But
you got a gig this year, I'm guessing. Then,
of course, my friend, of course.
Will Jordan be there or John?
John. Nobody likes John.
And that includes Jordan.
You're just giving us the ammo, aren't you? Just nobody Bicey, nobody likes John. Nobody.
Yeah. Well, I've had to put up with Frank the Tank for many years, so now I've got John the Jerk. We've found out.
John the Jerk Spencer.
Oh, dear. So we didn't mention, obviously, the race week has happened. So my big one there, just shout out to Reverie, who took out on the race, but also race week. Yep.
They did win it on countback over Game On, the Cape 31. So performing nicely under IRC, the Capes.
Yes.
Very good. And then, of course, everyone else who are there, I'm sure they'll mention it, but it's a bloody good week. Probably the second best yachting week around.
Still try and find the first.
Oh, dear. What else you got, my friend?
Oh, no, that's me.
That's you,
That's
done.
about as much of my mental capacity I was able to throw at it.
Did you get a chance? Did you get a chance to go and see your mate the Don for the start of the Mini Globes?
No, negatory. We were on the water that day. But I did see I ran into, after we did our interview with him, I literally ran into him and Jane on the street.
Oh, yeah.
Had a good chat. We spoke about being there on that Sunday, but we were actually on the water, but saw the little procession of the Mini Globe boats, of course, coming through.
Yeah.
And then continued to see them for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And then they got out the harbour and they turned out and continued to see them for quite a long time.
They're not going anywhere.
I thought you were going to say it, and I was out there and they sailed past us.
No, but
Hey.
a great little, obviously great little program, and
Yeah.
you know, fuck, they're doing well.
Well, they've been going a
And
week.
no one has made Panama as of yet. I checked the
Correct.
tracker last night.
Correct. Yeah, I've got the tracker up right now. So their first stop is into Panama, where they'll throw them on the truck and zoom them across. So it is all tightly bunched, though. All Argo, Bibi, Captain Coconut. A few of the Aussies bunched together. So yeah, it's still happening. They're underway. It was very funny. If you haven't watched the start, there was a lot of entertainment going on. There was some interesting sailing techniques, but the adventurers chasing themselves around the world is a good one.
I could smell old mate cooking his barbecue.
Yeah.
They cooking snags.
Yes. I love it. The other one, of course, was we mentioned during last week that the DNs, our favourite ice boats, all the different ice boats, we love them all. The Euros were being run and won in Finland. And I'm not even going to say where they were at anymore because I've embarrassed myself enough, but congratulations. No, Rasmus. You can do all the pronunciations. Rasmus Marlin was the first from Estonia. Then this gets hard. Michael Brzezinski, the Polish sailor, in front of Lucas
Mickey B.
Zazeski,
Lucas Z.
Thomas Zazeski. Anyway, great battle. But Rasmus, he smoked him. He had a lot of firsts, so it was on fire. Very, very jealous of these boats and being able to have a go on them. It is one of our major goals, I think, as a team. We all three of us desperately want to have a go. I
certainly do.
When I was in Japan,
I've started training already.
Yeah.
Just laying down on my back. Head up.
In a lycra suit.
Making sure I don't lose little bice.
No little bice on an ice rock.
It'd be very little in an ice boat, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's impossible to lose little bice on an ice boat.
Possible to find little bice. Yeah, when I was in Japan, we were on a lake, and I did wander over to see if it was iced over, and I could have a go on an ice boat, but no, not frozen.
Negatory?
No.
Little John said negative.
Yeah. All right. I think that's us, boys.
All right, cool. Nice, man.
Good one.
Yeah, it's good
Thanks
to
to
get
Zara.
the
Good
team
luck
together.
to Zara and her ocean racing campaign.
Yeah, great work.
And,
good to get us all three
300th
together.
episode next week.
Ooh, big one.
Is it 300 next week?
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Yep.
Bloody hell, what are we going to do?
Well, let's talk about that offline.
Might have the week off.
But you can have a week off, listeners. Make sure you send us your emails at cheers@barkarati.com and be in the running for some fantastic Vicodie gear. Also, go to Radix Nutrition, use Barkarati as a discount code. Thank you very much for listening. Thanks for putting up with us. It's great to have the team back together. It works so much better with the three of us. Good luck out there. Enjoy your sailing. Try and promote it for everybody. Hoodies still available, and the UV tops at Vicodie.
Yes.
So
go to vicodie.com.
Ah.